joined now by Tai Tupou. Now, Tai, we've been trying to come up with, well, you're trying to remember what it is that your title is. What did we come up with? We've got CEO, founder, president. Tell us what it is that you do, who you represent, and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, cool, man. First of all, thanks for the opportunity to jump on. Truly appreciate it. Pretty much. I'm from ImHope. Our role in, I guess, society or in New Zealand is to just keep the conversation going. Like, we go into schools, communities, businesses. We talk to people about normalizing mental health, you know, because obviously a lot of the things that we see around the country is based around crisis. And, you know, we were talking earlier about the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. A lot of the work that we do is at the top of the cliff, but so far from the edge, you wouldn't even know it's suicide prevention. You know, we're normalizing things like depression, bipolar, anxiety, especially with young people, putting a title on it and making them understand that it's a real thing and it's actually okay if you've got it, you know. And by doing that, kids are walking around knowing that, like, if those guys have got it, then they're doing all good. Then, hey, there's hope out here for us as well, you know. And it's awesome, man.
Do you, obviously, to help these kids, you would have had to go through some things yourself?
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, I share my story about disconnections between fathers and sons. Growing up in a Pacific Island culture where you only speak when you're spoken to. And what I've found over the years is that a lot of dudes, they actually go through this. You know, like, you could be in the same room as your old man and not even say one word to each other, you know. And then by the time you finish school, you go into work or whatever it is you do, and you don't know how to communicate. You go into relationships, you stuff that up because you don't know how to communicate. Going to work, you know, the coach is speaking to you or your boss is speaking to you, and you think they're beating up on you. But the thing is, because you don't know how to communicate, what people don't know, they don't know. You know, and that's where I guess a lot of us dudes, we end up playing up, we stuff up because we can't get that transition from our the voices in our head to actual vocal, like verbal. You know, and that's where we stuff up, and that's the truth.
Were you different? Is it something that you were forced to learn? Because you're not sitting there with your feelings still trapped up here. You're able to vocalize them. So how did that happen?
Yeah, like I always tell the kids this funny story about when my parents forced me to go to uni, because obviously I wagged my whole days through high school and that. So by the time I got to uni, I had no idea what I was up to. But growing up, all I was allowed to watch was the news. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to uni, I'm going to be a journalist. And the first paper I got was on communication, you know, and I didn't know how to communicate, you know. So what I learned, like what I didn't know then and what I know now was that, you know, I had a lot of conversations with myself growing up, and I talk about it all the time, you know. And most people, you have that kind of good advocate, and you also have that bad advocate that, you know, tells you what you shouldn't do, but to do it and all that kind of stuff. And these are kind of like the battles that a lot of people go through every day, you know. And sometimes for me, that bad one is louder than the good one.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific time when, like, I know I went through some things around footy when I was to get dropped, and you know, for me that was pretty bad, and I went through a slide and found alcohol and all these sorts of things, and it wasn't until my wife actually said, like, oh, you know, you can't do this. And we moved over here, and you know, I went through and sort of recognized myself what the problem was, and it sort of made me better in the end and made my mindset clear. For you, was there a sort of point where you recognized, oh, hang on, like, my mental state isn't the best here, I've got to do something to change it? And how did you go about that?
Yeah,
who pointed it out to you as well? You got Aisha's wife pointed it out.
I wouldn't say anyone specifically. Growing up, like, all I wanted to be was a footy player. You know, I wanted to play rugby league and I wanted to be pro. And I say to people all the time, the best thing that never happened to me was turning pro. and, you know, going around speaking to franchises, footy teams, and I see the look on boys' faces when I say that. And because I guess we were so consumed in that growing up, that when I did get cut, I didn't know how to handle it. And because I'd put all my eggs in that one basket, I took like a freak accident on my ankle, snapped my ankle just before I was pretty much going to get my first shot. And then from there, kind of like came back half-hearted, and they were like, man, you're not in it, get out of here. And then I guess like a year later, found out that my old man wasn't even my real old man.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I was like 22, 23. And, you know, again, I still didn't know how to communicate. So I couldn't talk to anyone about that. And I just felt like so neglected and so mad at my family that I turned my back on them and just spiraled out of control, turned to alcohol, you know, became an alcoholic. And when that stopped working, I turned to drugs. And it wasn't until one day I met this dude. I used to see him like every day for like 3 weeks. And he always looked sharp. One of those annoying dudes that's always happy all the time.
Overachieving happy people. Know plenty of them. Yep.
And I'd see him every day. And one day, after 3 weeks, I went up to him and I said, hey, bro, like, why are you freaking always happy? You know, like, I'm over here, you know, like, I was drinking last night, you know, I probably had like a couple of hours sleep. I'm at work and I'm looking at you like, you know, like practically like stepping him out for being happy, you know. And then, you know, we got talking and I said, bro, man, you know, told him the same story that I told you guys. And I said, man, I want to be like you, man, you know, because I'm like on the edge now. And if I don't do anything, then I don't know where I'm going to be, you know, tomorrow. And then from there, we caught up on the weekend in Mount Eden, actually. He said, man, I'll meet you at this cafe. And bro, I've never been to a cafe in my life, you know. I'm just a poly kid from out west. And, you know, I'm 23 years old, never had a latte or anything like that, you know. And,
Cafe, what do you mean cafe?
and obviously, like, what I didn't know then and what I know now is I had major, like, anxiety issues, you know, social anxiety. Like, I still do now. You know, when I'm around the country speaking, I walk into places, pretend I'm on my phone just so I don't have to talk to anyone. Because honestly, man, like meeting people like freaks me out, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm that dude that's in the corner, you know, in those big function things, like wait for someone to come and introduce themselves to me. I'm not the networker dude, eh?
No.
No, that's not
I feel
me.
you. I'm the same. I want people to come to me. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be self-assuming and think that I'm going to be interesting enough to go and talk to them. Like they'll be like, "Who are you? Get out!"
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But that's amazing. I got a couple of questions on that story. One, the fact that you went from hungover and sort of still going on another 5, 6, 10 weeks of seeing this happy guy, something in you clicked to say, "I'm going to go and talk to him." Do you know? Have you thought about what that was? That moment shows someone who would rather stand in the corner and not be talked to at the parties. What made that click happen?
I guess it was the desperation of like wanting to overcome the struggle. Like I'd been like 2 years, bro, like just on the party bars, on the alcohol bars. And, you know, most people like in society will say that alcohol and drugs is the problem. But at the time, it was a solution for me, and I understand for a lot of people, it's the solution. So obviously what I didn't know then and what I know now is that we all have to find what our solution is in terms of maintaining our mental health or helping us overcome whatever it is that we do. And for me at the time, it was alcohol. Like it helped shut down those voices in my head that were constantly beating me up, telling me that I was useless and that I was no good and I didn't deserve to be here and I didn't deserve to be there. And that just made me feel good, man. But obviously that one day, man, I was probably still pissed anyway. And, you know, I was confident as. You know?
You rolled on up. And the other thing, who is this guy? Do you shout him out in all your talks now? Like, he sounds amazing.
Yeah, no. Every now and then, like some of the kids will ask who he was, and his name's Elliot. Like he's based in the States now. He created like a version of PayPal.
Oh yeah.
That they use. So his one's called PushPay.
Oh yes.
And so this dude he created it, and this dude, like, he didn't realize then, and he probably still doesn't now, realize that he saved my life, you know, and that just him being a genuine good dude, like, I know he's making bank now because he's loaded. Like, he lives in the States.
Fuck, his smile's even bigger now.
Won't add me on LinkedIn.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, those you hear the stories of people kind of recognizing it in themselves, but you've gone to the place where you actually have not only recognized it in yourself, then got yourself to a desperate state that you've actually made that move, that strong move of locating someone who can help. And then that person certainly turned around and helped. And now it's just been, I'm sure there's still tough times, but it's a whole different ballgame now.
Yeah, like, honestly, man, like, he helped get me to therapy because he was going to this church here in Mount Eden called Life, where he kind of set me up, said it was a cafe, went there and it was a church. And I was like, man, I don't do church. You know, my whole family and my whole upbringing's been based around church, and you fly into Samoa, everything's about God and church. And I said, bro, I'm not about that, because you know, I've had these people like lying to me all these years. So he goes, nah, bro, like, you know, we've got like counselors and that here, and I reckon, like, he said, bro, I can't help you, man. You know, all I can do is I can give you unconditional love and support. But these guys here, they can help you. And what I didn't know then, what I know now, and what I tell a lot of people is that people think that counselors are meant to fix you. But it's like anything, man. You know, like training and all that. Like, you got to put the work in. And it's not them that fix you. They just give you the tools to help you fix yourself. And
Totally.
And honestly, man, I spent 2 years intense therapy, and that pulled me through. And if it wasn't for that, man, I honestly wouldn't know where I'll be, man. And so I'm a huge advocate for counselling and therapy now, man.
So now you go around to see all the youth around New Zealand. Do you get many kids come up to you and have a chat about what they're going through?
Yeah, man, it's unreal, man. And, you know, I guess for a lot of young people, it's the first time they've heard an adult that's not perfect. Because in kids' eyes, they think, man, adults are perfect. They never stuff up, because they're always telling us, like, to do this, do that, you know. And I always say to parents, I said, man, the more, like, vulnerable we can be to our kids, and the more real we can be to our kids, you know, when they go through tough times, they're going to come to us, you know, because parents will call me and be like, man, my kid's keeping secrets and whatnot. And I'm like, bro, like, are you for real? You know, it's like, have you told your kid every dirty little secret about you? You know, I said, man, you know, when you're sipping on that glass of wine, you know, those walls are paper thin, man. Yeah. They can hear everything.
Totally.
What about we're speaking about at the moment, is it Snap Fitness?
Yep.
Are on board second year with ImHope?
Yeah, so like last year, Snap Fitness, they raised over 50K for us. Ooh. And this year, we've partnered up again with them, and their goal is to raise over 50K as well. They're doing a 28-day mental health challenge, you know, because like a lot of us, we know that physical and mental collide. And the best thing about it is that they're raising the profile of mental health through their clubs. And it's awesome, man, like what they're doing. And they created an app that all the members can join into. So pretty much when people join up, a portion of the registration fee goes to ImHope, and all the clubs around the country, they've started their own little fundraisers and that. And as far as I'm aware, like we're training at this club, Snap Fitness in Henderson. They had already raised like 3.5K, like close to 4K. Wow. And it was only day one yesterday. So it's crazy, man, and like got a lot of love for what they're doing.
Are you because you're ambassador, CEO, founder? Are you
president?
Yeah, president. Sorry, I forgot president. You know, you said it's all around the country now. You get to travel around the country, like you know, and go to the different Snap Fitnesses.
I'm going to be in like Wellington next week, and then Dunedin the week after. So my goal is to try and get to as many of them as possible, and just say thanks. And do a little bit of training in that. But my goal is to train every day of the 28 days, and hopefully I'll come out shredded or something, man, at the end of it if it doesn't.
Get ready.
Well,
Gotta get
you've
ready.
got the we've got you here. I haven't watched it, but the Second Chance Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, this is the memory of Eden Park.
Yeah.
You were here. It's nice to be back.
But how did you, speaking about mental health, how did that help you now attacking this? Because obviously it's like a series where, do you get voted off or
Yeah,
you get chosen between so many applicants. How
Yeah.
does that help?
Yeah, like it's been cool for us, like for ImHope, because it definitely like helped us get into more like a mainstream market. Because obviously we've been around for like 8-9 years now, and we've been traveling up and down the country. Like myself, Mike King, and our team. Like we've got an amazing team. A lot of people think it's a massive organization, but we're only a small organization. We've got like 5-6 people that work together to make this thing all happen. But for some reason, because of how big it's gone, that means that we've got to keep going out there and breaking down those doors for young people and hope that they can, reach out. Because I guess that's the other thing is the messaging's kind of stuffed up, where we say to people that if you're not having a good time, that you have to reach out. Like, I think it's stuffed, man. You're asking someone that's at their weakest to ask for help. It's not real, man. It's not a real thing. And I get really annoyed when I see that kind of messaging, because the reality is 80% of people that go through stuff, mental illness, suicidal thoughts, they never ask for help, man, ever. So if that's a true stat, that means that the problem's not the people that are going through things. The problem is the people that are in a good place.
Yeah.
We're not creating a safe enough environment for these people to be like, yo, I'm not having a good time.
It's interesting you were talking about counselling and how you would recommend it to everybody and anyone. I was adopted as a young fella, I think 3 years old, when I was moved from my Māori family to a Pākehā family up in Gizzy, and I was put through mandatory counselling pretty much through for my first, 12 years, 13 years, and I was counselling every week. And it changes, right? Like, you get to a stage where you know yourself well enough that just sitting on the opposite side of the table from somebody and just saying, oh man, I got pissed off about this, and then they don't even need to talk. As you get better at counselling, you literally know the own answer before they've even said it back to you. Yeah. And they just nod at you, and you're like, and you get to know yourself really well. A couple of add-ons to that, I also went to drama school, and they talked about creating a character and how on earth would you be able to act on stage. Like, it's pretty selfish to ask people to pay money to see your ass on stage just being somebody else. Like, you've got to create a character, so you need to know yourself well enough to know that you're not being yourself on stage, you're simply being this character. So those levels started to add up. But I know for people who haven't been for counselling before and are quite, they think it's something way different to what it actually is. But it's not, is it? Like, for you, you've done it later on in your life, so you could probably understand and see those things that happen to you when you're counselling. Yeah. I always call it a shower for the soul. Yeah. Like, you can have a shower and clean your outside of your body, but actually cleaning the inside and knowing your thoughts are clear is what counselling is.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, the way I look at it, it's like somewhere where you can go dump your crap. It's someone outside of your circle, and it's like there's no judgment. Like, you go there. And what I say to a lot of people is that, sometimes it's like a marriage, or it's like a girl, or if you're a dude and you're looking for a girl, and you're not going to marry the first one you see. No. Some people do, like but
those guys.
but
hey, we've all got those mates.
but the thing is, it's like the first one might not work for you, the second one might not work for you, but you got to keep going. And like I said before, you got to put the work in. Like, if you go there and you sit there and you think like this magical thing's going to happen, they're going to, I don't know,
they're going to fix it and your life is better.
It don't work, man. But honestly, like, if you put the work in, it's it's like the best thing ever, man. It's a huge weight off your shoulders. And for me, I think of it like a dump site. You know, I go there and I'm like, boom, here's all my crap. Sweet laters, I'm out. You know, and then I go out there like free will.
You do. You feel
again.
better, right?
Yeah.
The pressure, whatever it was that was annoying you beforehand. And there was times where I had to go to counselling when I just had nothing wrong. But because we had a weekly, and this was just so that I could work out who I was and where I was at and get comfortable with that. I almost feel like it should be mandatory in schools to learn yourself that way.
Yeah.
There should be a class where the counsellor's sitting there and it's all the kids learn at a very young age what makes them tick, why they're angry, what upsets them, how to get past that. Those tools for us in our country, and I think Polynesian and Māori culture would just do so well to everyone, rather than waiting till it becomes a boil over point. Again, we don't want to see more ambulances at the bottom of the cliff. How do we give the tools to the kids now? And that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah, and that's the truth, you know, because I've been reading this book, and it's funny because they're talking about how, you know, when people say they're going to the gym, it's a normal thing. And then as soon as you say you're going counselling or something like that, like people get all weird in that. And the book says, why is it okay for people to say they're going to bench press at the gym and they can't go bench press their mind, you know, like, you know, through therapy or whatever. And so we needed to normalize counseling just the same as it is going to the gym, going to physio, because the reality is if you get injured, you need to go to therapy. You know, if you want to lose weight, you need to go to the gym. Not that that's the only reason you go to the gym, but, and then obviously if your mind's not right, you need to go see someone. You need to talk to someone. It needs to be a real and normal thing.
Is the dream still alive then? Maybe we could see you Mitre 10 Cup or so, you know?
You know, whatever happens. I'm a true believer in, you know, if you stay ready, you'll never have to get ready. So, you know, I'm still putting in the work, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm pretty happy where we are and the mission we're on to save more lives, you know, because, you know, last year we had like 654 suicides in our country, and I'm not okay with that. And over 70% of those were men. So, you know, for me, I guess, like I said before, one of the best things that never happened to me was to play pro. You know, because now we're on this mission, and if it wasn't for all those stumbling blocks, I probably wouldn't be here driving this mission out, you know, with our team. So I'm pretty grateful.
Tai, you're doing the Lord's work, man. You're doing a great job, and I feel like you won't actually know it, but I'm sure every time you do these talks, and you'll be touching a lot of young dudes who feel like they can open up a lot more because of what you've done and done. So on you for being able to A, recognise it in yourself, B, be able to make the transition, and C, inspiring words when you say, you know, the amount of suicides in this country is too many for you, and you're going to do something about it. So well done.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate that.